Hello, everyone. Welcome to join our Cloud Nexus Summit webinar. So my name is Jason. I'm the lead solutions architect of Alibaba Cloud Ecosystem Solutions. Today, I'm the host of this webinar. And before I introduce our lovely guest, I would like to introduce a little the Cloud Nexus program. So Cloud Nexus is a new web series webinar that aim to bring together experts in different fields of technology and engage in lively discussion style to share some collaborative solutions together with our technology partners. So at Alibaba Cloud, we put a high priority on developing our ecosystem and have built partnership with lots of the technology partners, and IBM is one of the strategic one. We work very closely together. So today, when customers looking for the public cloud platform like Alibaba Cloud, they no longer just treat us as an infrastructure, but they want us to bring the end-to-end solutions together with our partners to address the common challenges or bring the business values. So that's why we launched this Cloud Nexus webinar, and to foster an open dialogue on emerging technologies. And today, it's my great honor to invite Roshan, who is from IBM Curator. He's a technical lead of IBM Asia Pacific. So Roshan, do you want to say hello to our audience and introduce the IBM Curator business a little?
Thank you, Jason, and thank you for the opportunity to represent IBM here. Alibaba is a crucial partnership for us as well. And yeah, just a brief intro. I've been with IBM for 15 years. I've worked across geos. I've been doing SOC operations for over 15 years. We've done some tremendous transformational next generation SOC projects for critical clients across verticals, be it government, infrastructure, banking, you name it, right? And Curator has been the fulcrum of our heart, or I would say the heart of the SOC operation transformation journey within IBM, right? And from a cybersecurity perspective, we've been diverse. And as you know, IBM has a very diverse range of offerings in the cyberspace, and it's a critical area of focus, area of investment, and area of innovation for IBM. And being part of that is very exciting, because you would see the newer offerings and the innovations that we've been doing all this while coming to light. And I'm very excited to show you some gist of it during our conversation.
Thank you, Roshan. I think we both sit in Sydney, but also joined the online meeting for a few times. But believe it or not, we didn't meet face to face yet. But anyway,
it was irony.
So I think Alibaba Cloud and IBM, we really have a very good strategic partnership. We start our collaboration since last year. So Curator security is one of the areas IBM and Alibaba Cloud works very closely. So we are more works on the infrastructure layer. We have our public cloud offering, the private cloud, and to address the hybrid cloud requirement. Curator is one of the top, cybersecurity brand and IBM, and you have really good, SIEM, SOAR offerings. And to work with Alibaba Cloud, we have one of our offering called local services, SLS. And by working with SLS, Curator can very easily to get all the related security event from Alibaba Cloud and to do the correlation and to drive the future, risk identification, threat identification, and then later on your response from a SOAR part. So I think that's a really good, collaboration between two different great brands, and we together build, the value add solutions for the end users. So my question to you, Roshan, is, why you think SIEM and SOAR is so important for the hybrid cloud or multi-cloud customers? So can you share more your insight on that?
Yeah, and that's a great question. The reason is because we've had a lot of conversation around SOC, but the heart and the brain of the SOC is your SIEM and SOAR, right? Your SIEM is the heart because it basically has the ability to solve complex visibility and monitoring problems. So what do I mean by that, right? In a hybrid cloud and multi-cloud environments, you have a mix of on-prem, cloud-based resources that are running, right? And you want to have a SIEM capability that enables you to give you that central visibility by collecting and analyzing security data from a wide variety of sources and simplifying that onboarding journey to monitor fraudulent activities across the entire infrastructure, right? So first thing is the ability for you to ingest and digest different types of data. Once you are able to ingest and digest that data, the next thing is for you to proactively look for potential bad within that data, right? And the way you do that is you need to have the analytics built in on the platform so that it can go through and leverage real-time analytics or search-driven analytics and basically come out with potential bad, right? And this basically ensures that you are able to monitor for unusual patterns, behaviors, and basically quickly identify potential security incidents. Once you identify potential bad, you want to make sure you want to investigate it better to reduce false positives, right? So the investigation piece, again, comes from the diverse aggregation that you have from different data sources. And this is where the augmentation of an orchestration and automation technology comes as a complement, right? So your SOAR then comes into the picture. They work hand in hand. The SIEM basically detects the potential bad. It forwards this into your SOAR. Your SOAR then tries to dissect it, tries to enrich it, tries to ensure that it brings contextual information during your investigation, right? And this would involve maybe looking up things, ensuring that it's able to go ahead and enrich threat intel information, just to give you the level of impact this particular incident is going to have in your environment, right? And to that, if there is a potential bad that is detected, you want to make sure you are responding to that particular incident in a compliance standard, right? So if there is a breach, if there is a potential bad, how do you present this information? How do I gather incident evidences, right? And once you have that, you need to ensure that you are able to complement that with reporting, right? To make sure that you have the right type of data and ensure you have the right type of compliance-driven reporting to augment all of it. So, like I said, the SIEM and the SOAR are the foundation pillars in any SOC. They need to work seamlessly, hand in hand, for you to have very low mean time to detection and very low mean time to respond, right? So like your response should be really, really fast, but the mean time to detect should be extremely quick as well. And that will happen only when both of these two work seamlessly.
Thank you, Roshan. I think you mentioned the word keywords like real time. I mean, for the fraud detection area, right? Like AML. So real time is really key. One of the key features or capabilities to identify risk even in milliseconds to stop the threat or stop the wrong activity. So I mean, so from IBM Curator, so in your opinion, what's your key differentiations for customer? Because customer really need the SOC and they know it's important for SIEM SOAR as a backbone capabilities. So how IBM Curator differentiate yourself with other vendors?
Yeah. So one of the key areas, right? We've been innovating Curator for the last 13 years, right? We've been in the Gartner leader for the last 13 years, and probably the only SIEM that has been there in the Gartner leader for the last 13 years. People have come, people have gone, but we've still been there. And we pride ourselves on that is because of the innovation that we've been putting together and the value our clients see in the Curator SIEM as a technology, right? So fundamentally, what are the areas of focus when you talk about SIEM? One, your SIEM needs to be scalable, right? Whether it's a small client, whether it's a large client, because projection of data is something that everybody stumbles on. So you need to have a platform that can scale regardless of whatever data that you the volume of data that you're generating. The second most important thing is the ability to digest that data. What do I mean by that? The core function of a SIEM starts to come to light only when you start to make sense of the data, right? If you cannot make sense of the data, your SIEM's no good, right? So you need to have various types of devices, various types of log formats, various methods to ingest data into the platform. So it needs to be flexible. So QRadar pioneered that over the last 13 years, right? We have a list of out-of-the-box connectors. For example, if you have a multi-cloud environment, right, you want to run something called edge analytics, which means that you don't want to export data out of the cloud. The moment you take data out, it starts to get expensive, right? So you want to make sure that you live in the cloud and you're able to get that real-time visibility, run edge analytics to detect potential bad. The second thing is that customers have a combination of legacy systems, next generation systems, new age SaaS solutions. Regardless of the technology, you need to have the ability to find a way to integrate all of them into the platform. And with that, we've made QRadar extremely open, and we've built in a lot of connectors within the platform that seamlessly enables the analyst to operate QRadar and get data devices on board seamlessly. Third thing is analytics. It's all about analytics, right? Whether it's real-time analytics, whether it is search-driven analytics. And one of the key area of focus is if you want to detect advanced threats, you can't just do event-driven collection, right? So you need to have a combination of event, flow, packet. You're basically going to have a combination of all of this. And for that, we are pioneered with a single pane of glass view that can give you real-time visualization of event data, flow data, packet data, right? So you have technologies run in silos. You have a SIEM that does event data. You have NDR, that network detection and response, that does flow data. But we are the only platform that negates that need and gives you that single pane of glass where you can run real-time analytics across event and flow data, right? So if you're doing really complex use cases like fraudulent activity followed by an embedded PHP and a connection to a known bad IP address, that's potentially bad. That's a use case that has a combination of event data, flow data, packet data. We can deliver that use case straight out of the box within QRadar. Right? The third thing that we wanted to highlight in the platform is out-of-the-box content, because not all of them are going to be intelligent enough to craft these attack detection mechanisms. Although we make it seamless and easy, we are able to deliver a lot of out-of-the-box content within the platform, ready to bring value in terms of threat detection, right? Fourth, we've made the platform open, which means that we want to collaborate with an extended security ecosystem. So communities like Sigma rules, Yara rules, which are open source rules that different cyber communities contribute to. Today, the platform is ready to ingest all of that information. So you have real-time analytics, right? And you're no more dependent on IBM to craft a specific type of rule to detect an attack. So if you have a zero-day attack or an outbreak, and someone in the Sigma community crafted a way to detect it, you will be able to use that and run it within the platform, which brings great time to value. And finally, we've also made sure the platform is diverse enough to consume different types of threat analytics, right? So you may have different flavors of threat intelligence within the platform, but you want to make sure the platform has consumed all of this to enrich as much as possible the data it collects, the threat it has investigated and detected with the latest enriched threat information so that the analyst knows the impact of what he is investing. To augment it all, we are now running network analytics. We are running user behavioral analytics. We are using flow. We are using cloud-based analytics. within the platform. And all of this is driven on a single pane of glass view, right? So the platform today runs with customers as low as maybe 500,000 EPS to as high as 1 million EPS, right? So we've gone to the largest spectrum possible to the smallest client possible, because an attack is an attack regardless of the magnitude of the client, right? So that's been the philosophy of how we've developed the tool. We've made it simple, we've made it consumable, and the platform has been I would say the platform has been in the Gartner's leader for this specific reason, right? For the last 13 years, right?
Thank you, Roshan, for the comprehensive summary. I mean, you know what? I worked for IBM before I joined Alibaba Cloud. I think IBM, one of the key differentiations is we not only bring the pieces of features, but the whole picture or vision, how to help the business from different angle, not only from the operation, but also the analytics, how to be open enough to have more and more ecosystem we work together. So, Alibaba Cloud, we do our open public cloud business for more than 14 years, and we do the international business since 2015, so 8 years ago. So lots of our customers, so they start their journey with us from the very beginning. They use a very basic, service like our ECS, RDS, later on. And later on, they move all their data on our platform. So to make the business more valuable or more business value to the customer, so how to consume the data properly to ensure data can generate more value and to identify the risk earlier. So that's, I think, what we, together with IBM Curator, we can do more to the end users. From this angle, I mean, another very key important partner is the MSP, so managed service provider. So we as an infrastructure, as a platform, and a platform as well, platform as service as well. And Curator is more like the SIEM, SOAR, backend middleware. And in the middle, we have our managed service provider, our common partners, who help to operate the SOC security operations center, SOC, for the end users. So in that way, I think it's the four parties, right? So we provide a robust, scalable, strong platform, and Curator provides the industry leading middleware for the security management, cybersecurity. And then our joint partners, they have the experience how to operate the SOC for the end users. So we together bring a win-win situation. So I think I got two more questions for Roshan. So one is more and more they call compliance and the service. So I think that today, before they are very used to use a perpetual license to build their own services, but now customers or clients, they are more get used to SaaS. So they are no longer have the patience to build their very strong, very comprehensive platform. But now they want, I want everything as a service. So compliance is as a service is a new, I would say, the new angle. I see lots of startups, lots of new vendors, appeared. So what's your opinion from your point of view, how you respond to this, such of a trend?
Yeah. So compliance as a service is very crafty. It's based on the industry that you're trying to service, right? Because compliance vary based on industry, right? And that's also the complexity for the service provider, because if you're doing healthcare, it's a different compliance like HIPAA. If you're doing BFSI or financial sectors, you are doing PCI compliance. So how do you craft all of that, right? How do you simplify the ability for you to consume data, investigate data, and respond to data for a very industry-specific compliance? That is one. And the second thing is, how do you know if the regulations change? How do you incorporate that change into translated functional capability within the platform? right? So these are the two key areas that compliance as a service is evolving, right? But from an IBM standpoint, what we want to deliver is, you don't, from an analyst standpoint, his role is to investigate, right? We want to make sure that we use the analyst for investigation and response, and use the tooling to gather evidences for the type of compliance that you want to adhere to, right? And that's what we are building within QRadar Suite, right? Wherein which one, we are building a platform that is compliance ready based on industry verticals, right? Whether you're doing HIPAA, we have a set of content that we deliver, be it reporting, be it detection capabilities. Give you a simple example, right? You should not see, let's say in a PCI-based compliance, you cannot have unencrypted traffic in a PCI compliance zone. It's a statement, but we translate that into a functional use case within the product, so that if there is a violation of that, you get to know off the bat straight off, right? The second thing is, in case there is a breach, how do I respond for a compliance based on PCI? And how do I respond for a compliance based on HIPAA, for example, in the healthcare industry? So what we have done within the platform, within the SOAR, is to have breach response, wherein which you know how you need to gather data, how do you do breach disclosure, who are the responsible authorities that you need to inform of your breach disclosure, what evidences that you need to gather, in what format you need to gather, right? So we are making that as part of our offering, wherein which the analyst now basically says, I'm looking at a screen. The screen is a guided response on how do I respond and investigate to a potential bad. And if there is an impact within my environment, how do I gather evidences in a format in which I can present this to the court of law, or maybe even a regulatory authority, right? So we have ensured that within the tooling does the heavy lifting in terms of updates. For example, if there is a regulatory update, that is translated into technology tooling and downloaded as an update into the platform, right? So this area is what the MSSPs love, because they no more are going looking for industry specific resources to understand and deliver their managed services offering. They are now leveraging technology to do the heavy lifting and leveraging skill sets of the analyst for investigation, right? So the narrative here is, we're going to move away from you trying to read, understand, and make sense and deliver and craft content based on compliance, from the mindset that the vendor is now starting to do that for you, and then delivering this as a capability within the platform, which you can consume and deliver as a service to all your clients.
Thank you, Roshan. Like your answer, it's more like that as the right person do the right thing, right? So it's
Exactly.
not just apple to apple, more like that you can work together to give customer more choices and more values by working together.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good. So my last question is, what's the impact of AI on security solutions? Before I think AI is more general one, but now AI, especially AIGC, generative AI, or they have large language model, right? They have really good progress, especially in last year, this year. So any new challenges you think, or new opportunities from the security point of view to address?
Sure. So when we talk of LLMs and we talk of AI, the foundation of that is data, right? The problem is security data is very dynamic, right? It's a very dynamic set of data, unlike business data, which is very static, right? You get something new every single time in your security data, right? And it's going to become, that means your AI is constantly in learning mode, right? And that's kind of the challenge that we're looking for, right? If you're doing pattern-based analytics, you're doing, you're using regression models, you're basically using all these LLMs. But the thing is that it will only craft a response based on what it's seen. But the challenge in security is you're going to get something new every single day, right? That's why we call it a 0-day attack, right? Because you've never seen it before. So how is the AI going to detect it, right? So from an IBM's philosophy, we basically said detection in terms of anomaly, in terms of clustering, in terms of deviations is easy. That's not the fun part. I think we're going to focus on how do I investigate? Let's use AI to investigate rather than detect, right? So there's a shift in mindset. We're going to use AI and we're going to use it well to investigate. Now, what are the fundamentals of AI-based investigation? When you're doing AI-based investigation, you're going to teach the AI system on how to investigate an incident based on a query language, for example, right? The problem is, if my vendor changes, my AI doesn't become effective, right? So that means today I have 50 vendors, I need to learn 50 query languages. How does that stuff work? That means you're going to have issues like vendor lock-in. That means the customer has to have an entire ecosystem that runs on only one vendor for the AI to work well, right? So we thought about this and we said, let's change the narrative. The bad guys are collaborating. It's time for the good guys to do something like that. So we started the philosophy of having an open architecture, an open source driven language, right? So we basically look back at the innovation that we've been doing, and Stix Shifter is one such language, which is vendor agnostic, right? Which means if you're using Stix, you will be able to query any vendor that understands Stix, right? So look at it from the analyst. The analyst basically says, okay, I'm going to craft a query and I don't care what technology is below. Today you may run technology A, tomorrow you may not like it, you may want to move, bring in technology B, but the efficiency in which you're going to search and query and investigate remains a constant because you've adopted an open source model. One. Second thing is, because it's open source, you're going to have innovation, not just from IBM, but you're going to have innovation from the extended vendor ecosystem, right? Because they are all going to generate content that can be consumed in an open language, going back to Stix. Third, that's how the AI is going to work. Because if the AI knows the language, it knows how to investigate. And it basically moves away from vendor dependencies. No more vendor lock-in. You're basically invested a lot of technology, best of breed technology in your ecosystem, right? You want to use that technology as a client, as a force multiplier, rather than a rip and replace, right? You want to rip something and replace. You just want to build this extended detection and response framework in an open architecture where you're not locked into a specific vendor, right? And that's what this capability does. The adoption of open standards, the adoption of open architecture, and training your AI to investigate on this open standard and open architecture brings value to the client and ensures the consistency of investigation and the consistency of response done by the AI is there throughout, regardless of which vendor you have underlining, right? So this has been our philosophy, and this is what we're going to move forward with, because that's where we see the shift happening, where in which you need to collaborate for you to have best of breed technology in your environment. And the collaboration only happens between multiple vendors as long as they are able to constantly produce data that can be consumed across the entire ecosystem, right? And that's the value IBM brings, right? So even if we are using generative AI may give you recommendations. How do I respond to a specific incident? That's the easy part. The problem is, how do I investigate? How do I use AI to investigate to get to the point where I can clearly identify this is the attack, this is what I need to do, and then you're going to use a SOAR to maybe block it, right? The problem today with security orchestration and automation systems is that whenever they talk about automation, that automation is always in a vendor-specific language, right? You need to craft query very specific to a vendor in the API. Now, think about us, analyst, right? If you're going to have 20 technologies, you want to get information from all of them. You need to communicate in 20 languages, right? We as humans, it's practically impossible. So that's what we're expecting the systems to do, right? And what we've decided is we're going to have that universal language to talk, right? And that's where the Open Cybersecurity Alliance was formed, where it's a consortium of different vendors that came on board that loved the idea that we should develop open source content that is developed on Sigma, there is some content that's developed in Yara. You should be able to consume all of that. Not only consume, but when you develop content on the platform, you should be able to push that in the open source language as well to any other technology vendor that you have, right? The advantage of this to the client is that, one, like I said, no vendor lock-in. Second thing, you don't need to invest in those expensive data lakes because you're running queries in a native language that any system understands, right? Because of the openness. So there's no concept of building those large data lakes and transformation. It's all gone. So our AI that we're delivering is built on openness, is built on the open standards, and we've also made sure that the AI is free of things like hallucination, right? And there's no bias when you're training the AI, right? Because it's a standard and it's basically going to get trained on governed data, right? Because it's easy to tell the AI how to investigate rather than how to detect, because when you're teaching the AI how to detect, it's only going to throw outliers. It's actually not going to pinpoint and say, this is the problem, right? But when you teach the AI how to investigate, it gets to a point where it gives you enough information where you are able to make an informed decision on how do I respond to this, right? And that could be through your SOAR, through your automation, right? So that's basically the shift in AI, and I think that's going to be the way forward as well, right? Because with the advent of different technologies, with the advent of best of breed technologies coming in place, we now have ASMs, we have breach responses, smoke and mirrors, all of that coming to us, which we haven't even heard of in the last 5-6 years, right? So you have the advent of newer tech. The only way you will be able to sustain is when you have this open architecture, right? And our AI is going to be successful because we've built it on that open architecture.
Cool, thanks. I think it's in short words, it's more like an AI-enabled SIEM and SOAR, right? Not an AI-replaced SIEM and SOAR.
Exactly.
Thank you for sharing. So we discussed AI, we discussed the comply the service and also the challenges customer facing hybrid cloud, and how to operate the SOC and how to work with the MSP. So to do the summary, if you use 3 keywords to summarize the key values we bring together to the end users, so what are 3 keywords you may pick up?
I think I would frame it in 3 words: being intelligent, being integrated, and being automated, right? You need to have capabilities that is intelligent enough to make the right decision, detect the potential bad, integrated so that it can collaborate to make sure you've gathered enough information for a potential bad, automated so that once you know that something's bad, you have a response that is automated, right? So it's going to be intelligent, integrated, automated.
Good job, Roshan. Thank you for joining the conversation today. I hope our discussion can bring some insight for you, no matter you are the customer who are considering to build a SOC, or service provider who want to work with us. So we are open and we are welcome to more discussions, either online or offline. But thank you so much, Roshan, to join us today. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks for the opportunity.
No problem. Thank you. Bye for now.